Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all around the world, all you brave hearts out there, okay? I hope you're having the best day of your life. You know what I want to talk about today? I want to talk about spinal surgery, but this is all surgery. So if you don't have a spinal problem or you're not going to spinal surgery, just know something. Almost everybody's going to go to surgery. And I hope you know that the average person has about 5 surgeries now, okay, in their lifetime. My father actually went in his lifetime before he passed on, my father went for 11 surgeries, okay? My grandparents and my father had this belief. I mean, this is how powerful the medical system is. They had this belief that if every few years they got rid of an organ or they had something replaced, that they would live longer and live stronger. You know, it's amazing how you can actually, okay, program a human being things. And I mean, believing the most outrageous things. And the reality is that we are at a time right now, believe it or not, people are lining up. They're lining up and paying to get the chip in their skull from Elon Musk. So you can pretty well program people to do basically anything. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. It is such a beautiful, it's not beautiful, but it is such an orchestrated strategy. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I said I would answer questions, so I'll get to my little story. Kathleen, my husband has a hernia without a chair, and the idiots think he's going to agree to a surgery using hernia mesh. We can talk about that. Hell no. Let me tell you something right now. Guys, you have no idea. I know there are some of you that have a perfect idea. You've done your work. You've searched everything out. You are your own health detective. You got this. I know this. I get it. But the reality is the majority of the population, when I talk, I'm talking about the majority of the population. The majority of the population are not awake. And here's the deal. There's already a hernia mesh lawsuits. Well, why wouldn't there be? Have you ever had a sliver in your finger in your foot? Right away, what it does is causes inflammation, swelling, and infection. Did you hear that infection? Well, the infection is actually pus and cells that are dying. Okay, so that's why women will get cysts on their ovaries because they've got cell death in their pelvic area. But what would you rather have, a cyst on your ovary, or would you rather ovarian cancer? You make the choice. Okay, now let's get back to the hernia. So if you want to get a repair for an inguinal hernia, because you can have a hiatal hernia. Just know this, you've got a hiatal hernia. I'm in Orlando right now. I'll be here till Saturday. Then I'm going to Mexico. I live in the United States and I live in Mexico. So I am going to be going to Mexico and I'm going to be there for about 4 months, 3.5 months, because we're going to be starting our tour off in Ixtapa, our New World Practitioner certifications and our Braveheart Health and Healing Circle and the pelvic course, which I'll be starting the Whole Life Coach course certification on the 8th, and I'll be doing it at that 4-diamond resort called Cala del Mar in Ixtapa. So come on down, take our courses, come down for the sun, for the beach. It's beautiful down there. Anyways, go to braveheartnation.com to check that one out if you'd like. Now, so here's the deal. 20 years ago, they said, let's get rid of suture. Now, when you suture, okay, they're using pig gut, cat gut. They're using many different types of things, but the body can take that kind of tissue, enzymatically break it down and dissolve it and get it out. It's not toxic. Now, when you use a silicone mesh, when you use a plastic mesh, which costs $25, and these actual inguinal hernias that they repair, okay, are you ready for this? Those things, they make like anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on them. And the reality is when you put that mesh in, how many people know about cement? And 1 second, I have to restart this. How many people know about you know, how they put the steel rods in cement to get the foundation really strong. Bear with me, everyone. There's something wrong with Instagram. See, you know, I'm live anyways. That's got to be true. So if you, okay, if you've ever worked in construction, there's a problem here. Just give me a second. 1 second, please. I'm going to get it off of airplane mode and see if we can pick it up that way. Let's try that. Okay, we're live now. Okay, so if you've ever worked in construction, you know that they have steel rods, or they have wire that they put in, and that's like the mesh. So let's take the steel rods or the wire is the mesh, and then your tissues are the cement. So when you get a mesh put in, and let's say you get it put in, and it's usually right here, left or right side of the belly button. I will get back to. I want to play an audio from the top leading surgeon in New York talking to one of my patient clients and trying to talk her into spinal surgery. You're going to love this. I'm not going to mention his name or anything like that, but you are going to see how the system works. Okay. So now when you get a mesh put in, remember something, it is inflaming, irritating, and infecting. Your body goes, oh my gosh, all this inflammation, we've got to make much fibrin. So your body makes a ton of fibrin, which is what we would call scar tissue. A lot of people don't understand, but why you feel old is from the inflammation from your brain, from stressing out, and from an inflammatory diet that creates all this fibrin and takes the calcium from your bones and puts it in your joints or your tissues. And that's why grandpa walks stiff as a board. That's why when you get up in the morning, it takes you a while to get your groove on. And most of you are losing your groove because you follow the majority and you've been programmed. Now, when they put the mesh in, okay, all that inflammation, a whole bunch of scar tissue wraps around it. Okay, it's the same thing when a woman gets an implant. When they get the implants out, they can have a 1/4 inch of scar tissue with more heavy metals, more toxins in that scar tissue. It is totally toxic. So the reality is this. I want you to get this. So healthy tissue does not store toxins. It can actually have enough circulation to get rid of heavy metals, get rid of the parasites, get rid of chemicals. Scar tissue, okay, will hold heavy metals and chemicals and even parasites. But, you know, so it goes healthy tissue, fat tissue will store all that. Then scar tissue stores more. And then calcified scar tissue even has more. But when that mesh goes in, all this scar tissue gets wrapped around it to try to protect the body from an invader. So now when you move around, okay, you are going to what? You are going to grow something that you don't want, okay? You're going to grow something you don't want, okay, in there. Or you're going to tear out again where the mesh ends, okay? Because it becomes like beef jerky. And understand something, anybody that gets mesh put into their abdomen area or down into the lower core, you are messing yourself up. If you're a guy, get ready for prostate inflammation and even prostate stage 4 inflammation, bladder infection, bowel problems, adhesions from the scarring wrapping around your small intestine, large intestine. For you women, bladder infections, infertility, bowel movement problems, okay, you're going to choke the whole area off. Endometriosis is just scar tissue. And then from endometriosis, which is the baby, we go to the adult, which we would be calling fibroids and tumors in the lower part of the body. So first you have endometriosis, which is in your lower pelvis, women, and tumors and fibroids down there. And all it is the body continually making scar tissue to try to capture heavy metals, infection, and inflammation in this ball so it doesn't spread. So it gets bigger. And you'll see that if you have a sexual emotional stress, like, you know, stressing out about your kids because you birthed your kids from your vaginal canal, that'll blow up. I had a very dear friend of mine, and this only happened about 8 months ago. And she had a fibroid in there, and then her children went and moved away to live with the father, and the fibroid went from here within a few weeks this big. It blew right up. Emotional causes the physical, psychological rules the biological. So it's all about scar tissue. So you can create it here, and you can create it from an inflammatory diet. So here's the deal. And bad habits. I mean, if you want to do sugar or drink alcohol every day, and even one glass of any type of alcohol, when you already have a chronic situation or an autoimmune disease, it's like having 10 glasses. So you need to understand that. Now, let's get back to it. So what we have is we have the mesh, and it's like the rods or the wire drying in the cement. You can't get that mesh back. You'd have to tear up the tissue to get it out. So once you got it, you're pretty well stuck with it. All right. So now let's get back to, let me see. Hello. Let me see if hello, I just joined. I was wanting to ask you, what, if anything, can be done about degenerative disc disease? Well, there's no such thing as degenerative disc disease. And can I explain why? So would you be so nice, Jessica, is just to hang in, and I want to play this, okay? I want to play this. This will blow your mind, and this will put so much together for you. I'll stop throughout, but I'm going to give you a 5-minute lead up to it right now. Let me just wave to some people out here, okay? Because that's what we do. We love waving to people. There you go. And so let's talk about this. First of all, disc degeneration is from stagnation and constipation and inflammation of your large intestine. I so want to have a surgeon come on, or even a chiropractor, or someone to challenge me, okay? You know what? I got into the business of health in a very young age. My grandfather died of bowel cancer. So, like to Gary, Indiana, and I went to the Australian Naturopathic College. And when I went there, I became a colon therapist. And understand something, even if I'm as dumb as a stump, okay, I've been involved in colon therapy now. It's kind of scary, okay, but like 65 years. I ran the North American Institute for the Advancement of Colon Therapy, okay, for 11 years. In 1986, my colon therapy manual, which I still have, which I typed it, this is like 350 pages, and I had it typed. I didn't type it. I had it typed, and it was used by the United States Senate in the studying of colon cancer. Now understand something. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that 95% of all problems in the body on a physical level are from a dysfunctional bowel. And you're going to tell me that you have great bowel movements. Well, how many people do you poop with? You only poop with yourself, and you only know how your family poops because nobody hardly even talks about it. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm right. If you were to get on top of your large intestine more than any other organ, whether you've got a heart problem, lung problem, whether you've got a liver problem, I'm going to tell you that'd be the most amazing thing you do. If you want to drain the tub, you pull the plug out at the bottom, and then you drain from the top down, right? Isn't that true? And the large intestine has 85% of your immune system, which is your good bacteria. And your good bacteria talk 9 times to your brain when your brain only talks 1 time to your body in comparison. So 9 to 1, okay? So the really intelligent part of a human being in the immune system is actually the bacteria. And these suckers are still trying to get us to use bacterial soap so that we can knock our bacteria out like we do with antibiotics. But here's the deal. Just know this. 90% of the population has leaky gut, okay? It's even higher because only 1 out of 100 people don't have parasites now. And that is actually a real close stat. And the reality is you can't have parasite problems in the body unless you have your own cesspool, manure pile, contamination from the putrefaction, from the stagnation. What happens here is this. You don't have disintegrating discs. It's not a disease. The discs are not the disease. You are pooping in your pelvis, girl. Let me tell you something right now. Okay. I'm sitting down right now, but look, see right here is your large intestine. You have your cecum right here. Okay. Then you have your, ascending colon, transverse colon under the ribs, and then it comes down the descending colon, and you have your sigmoid and then rectum anus. Now, if you were to take a look, that people who have sciatica problems and lower back problems, you would see that the cecum, which is the beginning of the large intestine, sits above the right hip. That gets congested with a fecal ball, fecal waste. So your small intestine, 22 feet, then goes into the large intestine, and it starts off in the cecum. The cecum's supposed to trigger and then take that poop and contract it like a snake all the way around that 5 to 7 feet of your large intestine. But guess what? Most people are congested in the cecum. And if you take a look at the two SI joints in the back, because you're pooping in your pelvis, anything that stagnates, you are absorbing the waste through the mucus lining of your large intestine, because it's only one cell thick. And if it gets inflamed enough, it's called tight junctions. They open up and the poop goes through and it goes into your tissues. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, go to the chiropractor, get an adjustment, you're going to feel better. But it's only going to be for a day or two, because it's actually pooping in the pelvis, creating the infection that creates the inflammation, that creates the spasms, because the infection eats and the inflammation. Well, first of all, the infection eats up the oxygen. Inflammation eats up the oxygen. That's why it's inflammation, inflame. Fires eat up oxygen, and then you get spasms and contraction in your low back. Oh my God, it's my back. I need to get a back adjustment. No, you don't. You need to clean out your bowel, your large intestine. If you were to do daily cleansing tea, morning and night, and you were to do black gold mixed with a blender drink, twice a day, 95% of your problems would be gone if you did it as a ritual every day. Because I don't believe in laxatives or stimulants. I believe in the perfect day. If you were gently loving yourself every day, you wouldn't have any diseases, because you're out of alignment, you're out of harmony, and you're infected. And that's it. And we've all been programmed to be sold by the pound. Now, so whether you want to believe it or not, the tone in your core is more important than your biceps, more important than your legs, more important than all the other muscles. If your core was strong, the rest of you would stay strong. You don't pick things up with your low back. You pick them up with the muscles in your core, which is your abdomen. The weaker that gets, let me tell you something. If you're not able to sit on the floor and get off the floor without your hands, then you're on your way, to not San Jose, but you're on your way, to the nursing home or the hospital, and eventually hospice. Because you've got to be able to pick yourself up off the floor. And if you can't pick up things and you go, oh my God, I moved the couch for my wife and now I threw it out. No, you didn't. You were pooping in your pelvis. You rotted out the whole bottom area, and guess what? You have no tissue integrity, and your beautiful connective tissue became more like beef jerky and weak. That's what happens. Now, so the cecum can actually get blocked up, and then your right hip is going to get into trouble. You're going to have hip problems. Because why? Because you're pooping in your pelvis, and the concentration of waste is going to be on the right side. And you're going to say to me, well, I had a sports injury when I was younger. But wasn't this, the sports injury can cause scar tissue that back up into you and cause problems for you later, But let's make something really clear here, really clear. If you have a sports injury, a car accident, you need to get Wolf non-surgical, and I'll give you a money-back guarantee. You won't have to deal with it in 10, 20, 30, 40 years and talk about how you got the winning goal 40 years ago, but now you're limping down the street. Because anytime you damage any tissue in the body, it's replaced with scar tissue. I'm telling you, we are the Holy Grail. My perfect day consultations are the Holy Grail. And my Wolf non-surgical will give you a money-back guarantee you don't limp anymore. And it depends on how much scar tissue you have, how much calcium you pulled out of your bones is going to depend on how many treatments you need. And you're not going to need dozens of treatments. Most people in the first treatment, they go, oh my God, this is mind blowing. And usually the worst case scenarios are 3 to 5 treatments, and you don't have that problem anymore because we have to pull apart the scar tissue and get the calcium back in the bones. So understand, whether you're talking any part of the body from your nose to your toes, it's involving your large intestine pooping in your pelvis. And if you didn't notice something, the medical system attacks the large intestine with antibiotics and drugs, but they don't give you any support on how to enrich your bacteria when, guess what, you have 50 trillion cells, but you've got 500 trillion bacteria that are asking for you to love them. Yes, somebody's saying order today. Well, I would. Our biggest sale is on right now for this week and next week. It's Black Friday. Anyways, let me keep going and understand something. My name is Dr. Daryl Wolf, and you can call me at 469-861-8884 if you've got challenges and questions in your life. It is my honor to answer your questions. If you're scared of me, please don't be. But if you are, call my office at 855-900-4544. Extension 0, and they will give you to a master practitioner that will answer your health questions for free. If you want to go further, why don't you strategize like these psychos have against us and get yourself a perfect day consult so that you'll have lifetime support. You can call us as much as you want on my 800 number. I don't care how often you call. Use it. Just use it. Because guess what? You matter, your health matters. And we will, for $150, we'll give you my 400-page manual in a PDF, and pretty soon you'll be able to buy the book. And I'll tell you, there is no book that will help you take more massive personal action without spending money in your life than this book. And that is my gift. And I'm telling you, we're only going to be selling it for cost to people. All right, we need to get this out there. So now let me get back to track. So here's the deal. So if you had a cecum problem, which is the beginning of the large intestine, you're going to have an SI joint problem and a low back problem and a hip problem on your right side. If you were blocked up, which most people are more blocked up in the sigmoid because the poop has to travel 5 to 7 feet. It has to go from the cecum, climb up the hill of the ascending, come underneath the ribs, the transverse colon, come back down on the right side, left side, my apologies, on the left side, come through the sigmoid, rectum, anus. By the time it gets there, it's so dehydrated because people don't drink structured water. They think all this other water that corporations sell is important. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Get yourself a structured water unit. They're on sale. Or a house unit or a shower unit. You'll never have to deal with these poisons again and never have to buy any filters, and they never break down. And I'll give you 90 days on any of my structure units. And if you don't like them, don't call me. Just call the office and say, Dr. Wolf, he didn't tell me the truth. I want my money back, and they'll do it. Okay? So if that's how you feel. Now, here's the deal. Okay? So you are rotting out and you know it. Okay, how many times have you had heartburn? Heartburn is when you've been pushing down with your diaphragm so often, trying to squeeze the poop out in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever you think you can go. And the reality is did you know that all hiatal hernias, except for the guy who's lifting 350 pounds, okay, that's different. But the normal person, it's caused because you're constipated. Oh, I'm not constipated. Really? Yes, you are. And constipation doesn't mean you don't go to the washroom. It means that it stagnates, and then it putrefies, and then the manure pile rots, creating endobacterium that gas off, okay? So now it's glicky, sticky, dicky down there, and you're trying to use your diaphragm to push the poop out. I'll be with you in a minute. I'll be there. I'm coming. Okay, so the reality is you need to learn how to hydrate and eat properly. And that's all in a perfect day consult. And it's in my library if you want to go in and do your own homework, do your own research. Now, so the reality is here is that you can have a hiatal hernia from trying to push down the diaphragm. The stomach valve pops up above the diaphragm. above it. So now the stomach gases are spewing out like some volcano into your lungs that can damage your heart, damage your lungs, damage your trachea. Okay, so you want to take care of that. And guess what? With Wolf Non-Surgical, and if it's a really bad situation and you can find somebody with a cell sonic, they will do about 150 pulses in here, and then they'll do this work it for about 5 to 10 minutes, and they can pull that back down. That's right. You never heard of that before, did you? Okay, now, so let's talk about now the inguinal hernia is lower. And the reason why people have inguinal hernias right now is because the whole world's rotting out. Look at the rotten, stinking food that we eat. Glicky, sticky, processed food. I mean, we eat dairy, which we weren't ever meant to eat dairy. The reality is that we'll eat lots of bread, glicky, sticky bread. Bread's dead. That's it. Okay, bread is dead. Even the best bread, you don't eat it on a continual basis. And remember something, we're not allergic to gluten. I have a gluten intolerance. It's actually the glyphosate that destroyed us, why we have the gluten problems. Gluten was never a problem until they brought out glyphosate. So let me make that perfectly clear, okay, guys? All right, you got sucker punched again. And then you go and you eat bread without gluten, and that stuff's no better than cardboard. There's not enough nutrition in it. It's called whole grains. Whole plant-based diet is the best. Whole plant-based keto diet is actually the best. Okay, now, so when you start to putrefy in your lower abdomen, guess what? Whether you want to believe it or not, the infection actually eats through the peritoneum, which is actually a lining that holds your organs in. So now guess what? That it rots out. Oh my God, look at the hole. Okay, so now what do we have? Well, now out of this hole, we've got your large intestine or small intestine, but usually your large intestine popping out through the hole. That's what you're looking at. So you rotted your gut out. Okay, now, you don't have to have an inguinal hernia or a hiatal hernia, okay? Let me tell you something, to have low back problems. Now, the person was on here going, degenerative disc. No. Your discs are made out of what? Calcium? Please, it's all science, love. It's all science. Your discs are made out of calcium. So the more infected you are, the more inflamed you're going to be. The more inflamed you're going to be, the more acidic you're going to be. Your pH is dropping. And then guess what? From inflammation, we go to mutation, and that's called cancer for most people. I call it stage 4 inflammation. Now, when that happens, because you don't want it to happen, your body says wherever the infection is going to be the inflammation. Wherever the inflammation is, and the worse it is, the more calcium you're going to pull from your discs. You have disintegrating discs because you have a disintegrating bowel that is loaded with more bad bacteria than anything else. You've got 85% bad bacteria, 15% good bacteria. It's supposed to be the other way around. We're upside down and backwards. Okay, so now that infection creates the inflammation, pulls the calcium, okay, if you don't believe me, that's what this is. You have osteoporosis. You don't have disintegrating discs. You have osteoporosis of these discs. And you'll find all that calcium, even the spines right here, you'll find all that calcium just in this area, that far away. It's all going to be just this far away, and it's going to be helping to bring down the inflammation, to keep the pH as normal as possible, to stop you from having cancer. That's right. Now, not only do you have disintegrating discs with the calcium being pulled, and guess what? L3, L4, and L5 are the main discs that have the calcium pulled out. And when I play this audio for you, you're going to go wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He's right. And I am right about this. Now, so what happens is the calcium is being pulled from those discs mainly, but it can be pulled from the sacrum, be pulled from the hips. You know what? I'm going to tell you something too. Are you ready for this? And I would love a surgeon to come on. Okay, a hip surgeon or a knee surgeon. You know, when they say that you're bone on bone in your knee, in your hip, and in your spine, that is all reversible. God created the most amazing body, and we will heal, and that's the deal. Okay, the body heals. People don't heal you. The body heals. So understand that. Taking drugs and numbing yourself out or cutting something out that's giving you a problem, you call that a cure? You call that a heal? That's your Achilles heel, and you're going to pay for it down the road if you live long enough. Okay, now, so you know the discs, okay? All right, you've got your vertebrae, and then you've got your discs, okay? The cartilage in the middle, okay? The cartilage in the middle. So we got cartilage, calcium, which is the vertebrae. Cartilage, and that's the way it is, all the way up for 33 vertebrae. Now, what happens is, remember what I said, infection creates inflammation. How many of you love beef jerky? Okay? How many people love beef jerky? Let me tell you something right now. Your cartilage, which is the disc in between the vertebrae, are becoming beef jerky. Every bit of fiber that was called the cartilage is still there, but it got dehydrated. We dehydrated the cartilage. So let's say if you went and made beef jerky from meat, it's 1 inch, and now it's down to what? 1/4 of an inch. So you've lost anywhere from half to 3/4 of the actual height of the cartilage in between the vertebrae. And that's how you lost your height. That's why you're 1 to 2 inches or even 2.5 inches shorter because of that. And if we use Wolf Non-Surgical, a technique I put together when I was 27 years old, thank you very much. And now I'm 67, so that's 40 years ago. And if we were to go in and do Wolf Non-Surgical in between all those vertebrae, I guarantee you, if you were 2 inches short, we just gave you back 1 to 1.5 inches. And if you come back 2 or 3 times, you have your complete height back, wham, bam, and I know what I'm talking about. So there goes your cushion. You lost your cushion because you dehydrated that. Are you with me so far? I hope you are. Because guess what? Now you've got scar tissue wrapping around your spine. You've shortened the cartilage down because it's dehydrated. And guess what? Now you've got blocks all the way through your spine. Oh, there's the big problem. And you don't even think about that one. Because every place that you have a block throughout your spine is going to slow down the spinal fluid from getting to your brain. So now we got brain drain because guess what? How many people know that the most vital information goes into your spinal fluid, and then it gets collected in your pelvis? It gets collected all the way up, but mainly in the pelvic and core of your body is where all the information is collected, and that goes up like it's like this, like that ride. It's called the zipper at the circus, and that goes into your brain, and it says, "Okay, brain," because your brain only has 2 jobs. Okay, it stores belief systems, which most of them are corrupt, and not because you're corrupt. People are not corrupt. People are beautiful, but they have corrupted belief systems. Come on, tell me we weren't programmed from the time we hit the womb, okay, until we head to the tomb. But the reality is from 0 to 7, that's where 90% of your personality is created, and most of you think it's God-given, and it's not. It's actually propaganda-driven. And that's the God's truth. You know, if you don't like your life, it's because guess what? You're not living your authentic self. And that's what we teach in our whole life coach certification course. By the 3rd day, you crack your coconut and you become your authentic self, which means unconditionally loving and caring for yourself and making choices from now on and saying, no, I won't eat that. I won't drink that. I won't do that. I will not dishonor the gift that I was given by God Almighty. And thank you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And that's what it's all about. That's how you get your life back. Okay, let's keep going. So now what we've got, okay, is we've got displaced calcium. And that's why you've got vertebrae like Swiss cheese. And because you were trying to bring back the proper pH because you were too acidic, and that could go all the way to mutation. But now you've been sending fibrin into that inflamed area. So now your back is all stiff and it doesn't feel good. You can't do the boogie woogie. You can't move around. Look at, you got to be able to move. You see? Look at 67. And when I'm 97, I'll be doing the same thing. Because guess what? The Holy Grail is having a perfect day from the moment you rise till you close your eyes. Now, are you starting to understand? I hope this is. This link is well worth a good listen. Who's this? Let me see here. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. Are you ready? You want to hear this? Want to hear this audio? Okay, let me set the stage. So this is, she's still a client of ours because she's not a patient anymore because she's her own practitioner. But I hear from her probably 3 times a week, eh, honey? Now she's like a practitioner. You know, she's in New York.
Yes.
Anyways, and now she's like a practitioner. And she's out teaching her family, her friends, okay? And it took time, though, because you got to be patient with yourself if you don't want to be a patient because you're programmed to sell yourself off by the pound. Just know that. And poison yourself and your family. You think I'm kidding? Well, why don't you wait to see, okay? All right? Why don't you wait to see how much poisoning your family does to themselves from Thanksgiving right through until New Year's, okay? And then everybody's going to go into depression, okay? There's the only depression I really will ever know about. It's in here. And that's because you burnt yourself out, okay? And you poisoned yourself. You poisoned your family. Hey, honey, come on. Mommy's got a treat for you. You're so good. Okay? I mean, Halloween, we kick it off. And we get our kids to go out and get about 10 pounds of sugar. And not just that, but all the chemicals that are in this. All of the candy that your kids got are all GMO. Okay? They're all GMO. So that candy actually goes in and it causes leaky brain and leaky gut. It actually is like using miniature, what do you call them? Razor blades. And it's actually just creating what we would call leaky gut. So it takes the tight junctions and it tears them apart. So now your kids are poisoning themselves and now they're going to get systemic diseases. And that's how you get systemic diseases, is because you're pooping in your pelvis and it's going into your bloodstream. That's why you call it systemic candidiasis, meaning you've got fungus from your nose to the bottom of your toes, right? So toe fungus, vaginitis, eczema, psoriasis, sinusitis. I could keep going. It's all about the fungus thing, right? Now, let's go and let's talk about this, okay? So now we've got somebody and they've got really bad problems. They believe that they're going to need spinal surgery. So she couldn't just have anyone. So she went to New York's top spinal surgeon, okay? And listen to the conversation and tell me what you think. And I want you to understand something. People are not bad, but they have bad beliefs, okay? I don't believe that doctors are corrupt. I believe that the system they work from is corrupt. And there's been many times in my life where I was programmed that I hurt myself and hurt others, and I didn't know any better. And you don't know better till you know better. So this is not a put down of doctors. I will never do that because they go in with their heart and soul to do this. And that's all I'm going to say. All right, so here we go. You ready?
Okay, we're ready.
She's ready.
Okay, so what is my back condition today?
I have severe stenosis between L4 and L5.
Okay, I'm stopping it. You have severe stenosis with L4 and L5. Okay, so he mentions L3, L4, L5. And what did I tell you? The main problem with the spine with people is L3, L4, L5. And do you know what's right in front of it? Your pooper. Okay, and what have you been doing? Pooping in your pelvis. And what do you think you've been doing? Infecting. And what does that do? Infection creates inflammation. And when you have inflammation, you got to pull the calcium from the bones to then buffer down the acidity to keep it alkaline. Do you understand? And then you send all this fiber in there to wall off so the inflammation doesn't spread. Are you with me? And guess what? He said, you've got stenosis. Now, what do medical people say about stenosis? That means that they're saying that in between from L3 to L3, L4, L5, guess what? That the nerve is dead. That the nerve is dead. And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody that said they had stenosis and the nerve is dead and we got to go in there and do surgery on you, we've brought the nerve completely back. The nerve is not dead. Is he a liar? No, he's not a liar. He is not a liar. He was taught that, understand, stenosis means the nerve is wrapped with scar tissue and calcium, and then the impulse of the nerve can't make it through. It's got a cement and beef jerky block. I still have this nailed. I do. You know, I'm not being cocky about it. I'm just glad I do know it because we are able to help people so fast. Okay? Already. Here we go. Kathleen, what do you do if you have severe stenosis where it's pressing on your spinal cord? Doctors say that only way to rid it is to drill it out. Why don't you listen to this conversation, love? Please listen to this. That's exactly what she's got, okay? And understand something. I just answered that. And understand this. With Wolf Non-Surgical, if you can get to somebody with a Cellsonic, that's great. But with Wolf Non-Surgical, clapping with the clapper, here it is. Believe it or not, yes, clapping with the clapper. You know what? I talked about my hip. Let me tell you something. I'm in good shape. I do my stretches. But for the last, what do you think, Lori, 8 days? My hip?
Yes.
I've been dragging my hip. I'm going, What is wrong with me? It's like I'm 67. Well, sometimes you need to do what you tell everyone else to do, Daryl. So I went and I clapped my hip, and then I got my IGF, okay, my IGF bottle, and I took the bottom edge of it, and I went in, and I'm going to be showing that either today or tomorrow. You'll see it. Listen, if you ever miss a video, if you join Telegram, which it's totally different than these platforms, on my Telegram channel, you can go back and watch everything you've ever missed even. And, you know, when it comes to me showing how to do things on your body, if you go into my do-it-yourself guide in my library at docofdetox.com, you can go and watch all the do-it-self. How to restore your eyes, your ears, how to get rid of sinus problems. I mean, I have so much stuff in there. Okay, I just did a few days ago, I did the knee and the ankle, and I'm going to show the hip either this afternoon or tomorrow, I promise. And then it's going to be in Telegram. So if you join Braveheart Nation Telegram or Doc of Detox Telegram, you will be able to catch every show that you ever miss because they block me a lot from people. Okay, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. You have no idea how I'm being shadow banned. Okay? Well, you deserve it, Daryl. No, I don't. Okay. Anyway, so here we go. Let's get back to this. So she's got stenosis, and your doctor's saying he's got to drill holes. Are you ready for this? This is the exact same story. It's like what you got told. She got told. Everybody got told. Listen, if you're going to go to a surgeon, what do they do? Help me out. What do surgeons do? They do surgery. Okay, so what is a surgeon going to do? Which channels on Telegram? Braveheart Nation and Doc of Detox. DOCOFDETOX or Braveheart Nation. Okay? All right. Hey, Doc, what about the Tesla med beds? Well, we have what's called a cardio med bed. And as far as the Tesla med bed that's going to heal people, understand you're not going to get to use it. If it is there, the military will take it, and then they'll want more money than you can afford, and I don't even believe that it exists. So there you go. I think that's BS. And if you want perfect circulation, and you want to learn about how to have perfect circulation, even if you have a 92% blockage, 93% blockage of the heart, which is very dangerous, I can show you how to reverse it with a cardio med bed. Go to BHN, which stands for Braveheart Nation, BHN, powerpack.com, and look at Cellsonic and look at the cardio med bed. Those are the two most powerful things on the planet. If you've got perfect circulation, and if you've got total frequency and vibration right down to the mitochondria, you have complete healing. And that's what the Power Pack does. And we've got Power Pack clinics, one in Calgary. We got one in Kelowna. We've got two in Barrie, Ontario. We have them, one in, we have three people in Florida. Anyways, they're opening up all over the place. And we've got one in Minnesota. I don't know where all the other places are right now. Okay. But the list of them are actually in bhnpowerpack.com. You can find a list of different people that have these things, okay? Texas, yes. Texas, it's Prosper, Texas. Just on the edge of Prosper, Texas, an hour just north of Dallas. And her name is Rami, okay? And she is a master practitioner. And she's got a cell sonic, okay? Let me see here. So anyways, stenosis, okay, they say is the nerves are dead. The only thing you can do is surgery, okay? And understand this. The doctor actually believes his pitch. Do you know how many things that I had to face up to that I was telling people wrong for years? And understand, I didn't feel bad because I can't do better till I know better. And I was programmed in school to treat people the way the government twisted everything. Any place that is government approved and certified, okay, will be a certified lie, okay? Understand that. The government works for an internal government that doesn't work for you, baby, and it's never going to, okay? And I'm not upset about it. I just want to know how the game's played so I can win. That's it. All right, here we go.
And the nerves, here's the white stripe is the nerves.
White stripe is the nerves.
See, they run continuously there, and then
Running.
right here it completely disappears.
Completely
That's
disappears.
The issue is this should run continuously all the way up and down.
Sure, you should be able to see the nerves all the way through
No
L3, L4,
room for
L5.
the nerves. Essentially, the nerves, if like somebody's coming in and choking them, they're losing their blood supply.
Okay, so he's not lying about that because the nerves are losing the blood supply and somebody is coming to choke him off. But he won't even tell her. Why? Because he's not allowed to. Because if you told me that I was getting my nerves cut off because of the calcium that was coming out of my bones and now my bones are starting to disintegrate and it's scar tissue choking them off, I'd say, well, how do I get my calcium back into my bones? And how do I get the scar tissue back into beautiful connective tissue? And you can believe me or not believe me, but we can get all the calcium back into the bones and get your bones like a young, healthy person again, even if you took Fosamax and you're in your 80s. Yes, calcium ion therapy. Go to my calcium ion therapy guide in my library and then tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. All the science is there. It's the only calcium product in the world that will actually restore calcium back into the bones that's scientifically documented and proved. The only trick is if you want to order the product, you got to call in because the FDA called me 5 years ago and said, if you don't take your calcium ion therapy off of your store, we will shut your website down forever. So we can't stop you from selling it because it's non-toxic, has no side effects, but we're going to make everybody have to call you for it. And that's the God's truth. 1 second, please. I'm going to be losing my phone here. One second. We're going to lose TikTok. There, okay. And I'm going to now put some energy into Facebook. There, okay. And Instagram, you're all charged up. Okay, good for you. Okay, so now, understand, he's not lying. He did not lie about it, okay? So it is being choked off, and I just told you that is the chokehold. Ready?
And they're dying.
And they're dying.
It numb, like you said.
They're not dying. Did you hear what he just said? He said that they're dying. They're not dying. They're in a coma. So it's like this. If I made you only breathe in 20% of what you could take in, are you dead? You're not dead. And if I can open up your lung capacity, which would mean getting the circulation back. I need everyone to get this. There is no swelling in the human body. Remember swelling. There is no stiffness in the human body. Remember that. Okay. There is no pain in the human body. Okay. All right. And there is no inflammation in the human body unless you have a physical block. And that physical block is either calcium or scar tissue or both. And I am ready to be challenged by any doctor, any natural health practitioner out there. I would love to do a show and I'll be open to it. And maybe guess what we could do? We could both teach each other and maybe somebody could help me to know better. But I know we have it handled because we give a money back guarantee on all our courses, all our trainings, all our consultations, and all our treatments. Okay? All our Wolf non-surgical treatments. The first time you come in, we give you a money back that we will shoot past everything, okay, in this treatment combined that you've done in one treatment. We will prove it to you that your body can grow back the tissue, grow back the bone, grow back the nerves, and you can heal. If we can't handle something, we're not going to take it on, because this isn't about ego. So people go, oh my God, he's got such an ego. Well, what if everybody had this information? You wouldn't say I had an ego. You would say, oh my God, it's just, everybody knows it. Everybody knows it's just natural to actually, that your body will regrow organs, tendons, ligaments, muscles, bone, nerves, and that's the God's truth. I could tell you a story about the Cellsonic, and you won't believe me, about somebody who actually had their spine cut, and by using the Cellsonic and by going on a more perfect day diet, okay, their spine is now fused together, and they can actually walk. So understand something, miracles occur. This isn't me doing a sales pitch. You just been pitched that the body is not amazing. The body doesn't self-heal anymore, and that's all.
It's gone numb. That means that you've got a permanent now deficit in that foot, because that.
So now you have a permanent deficit in the foot. Now, please, let me just help you with this. Where L3, L4, L5 is, we also have what's called the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve, okay, is one of the longest nerves in the body. When it comes out of the spine, then it runs across where the SI joint is, and then it goes down under into the hip, and then comes out the bottom of your butt, okay, and then runs down your leg. Now, with the choking off of the scar tissue and the crystallization and the calcification on that area, that's cut off the nerve. So now she has dropped foot. Okay, so I get it. So the reality is, if we were to go in, work on L3, L4, L5 with Wolf non-surgical, if we have Cellsonic, good, but we can still accomplish it with just Wolf non-surgical, which is an elbow technique. I told you there's nothing like it in the world. We've got to pull the fibers apart. Remember something, with Wolf non-surgical, we are not getting rid of scar tissue. Oh, isn't that something? People go, well, where's the scar tissue go, Dr. Wolf? Where's the calcium go? Well, the calcium goes back into the bones once it becomes, how can I say it, free from the scar tissue. But the reality is that the scar tissue is absent of lymph, blood, and energy, which is, I want to call it spirit, okay? We are spirit beings. And these three things aren't flowing in there. It's a physical block. Look at, if you were outside and I'm inside, and like in Mexico, where I live, okay, the walls where I live, they're like this thick of cement. And there's certain places in my house that if you called me from outside, I can't stand there because the signal won't go through. What are those walls made out of? Cement. What's cement? Calcium? Okay. And what's stopping the transmission of the nerves is the calcium blockages and the walls. I'm telling you, this is 1 and 1 or 2, guys. They're not 11. Okay? All right.
Length of time that it's been choked, that portion of the nerve is dead.
Okay.
The cell.
Bear with me here. But that's the second time that he said this thing is dead in 30 seconds. So what do I want to do? I got to make the sale. Now, does he know he's trying to sell? Well, he does want to be successful. I want to be successful. Right now, you could say, what a sales pitch, Dr. Wolf. Well, here's hoping that mine is right. It's logical. And here's hoping that I'm giving your power back, that once we help you get over the hump, you never get here again. But understand something. If you let him go in and do this, you'll have more calcium deposits, and more scar tissue than you had before you started. And you're going to say, I'm stiffer, but now I don't have any pain. That's right. He shut the nerve down. We could have opened it up. You could have stayed flexible. You could have stayed young and youthful. You go ahead and operate on the spine, and guess what you do? You cause more scar tissue and calcium, and now you are blocking your spinal fluid from flowing properly to the brain to get the messages there. The brain, what hormones and what chemicals need to be distributed through the body to create balance and healing. So you go ahead. You go and do that surgery. You know what? We were born to embrace suffering. You know, I'm going to suffer today for a better tomorrow. Well, you can take that and put that in a garbage can, because I am never doing it. I am not suffering for anyone or anything. I will take massive personal action with all my heart to help anyone, but I will never go into the suffering thing, because then that's when we create our own diseases. Okay, we steal our own energy, okay, and we create problems for ourselves, and I'm not going to do it. I'm a little bit more awake than that. You know what? Everything is bloody well almost a lie out there, and everybody's been programmed to serve corporate. So, anyways, let's get on with our little story.
Are dead, and that's highly unlikely to come back. If you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to the rest of your symptoms and worse, that's why we recommend surgery to decompress.
Okay, so we recommend surgery to decompress. That means to actually cut off the feeling. I hope you get that. So yes, I'm numbed out there, but wait a minute. Haven't we replaced feeling for numbing? Haven't we been taught to numb out, not feel? And the other thing is guess what? Every bit of pain, every bit of swelling, every bit of stiffness is a message. The first message you get is a little bit of pain from your body. And then if you don't wake up, you get swelling. And then if you don't wake up, you get stiffness, because now you're calcifying and becoming scar tissue. Your body's always trying to talk to you, but because you didn't realize that pain is a GPS in your body saying, I love you, and you're off track and somebody bullshitted you, and you don't know how to eat, treat, or think properly, can you please just do some homework on how the human body was supposed to be protected and respected, and maybe just remember that it's a God-given thing and it's a rental, and you better take care of it, or it'll get cut up like a Visa card that all you did was spend it and you didn't invest into it. And most people will never ever take massive personal action because you've been taught not to love and care for yourself except for everybody else. You'd give the shirt off your back. You would become a caretaker until there was nothing left of you to try to prove your worthiness to the world, when you should be minding your own business and becoming from a patient, okay, to your own practitioner, so that you can actually just live in your power, your authenticness, and then actually just shine that light. I'm not going to go, you know how many people I see that are limping or coughing or have symptoms everywhere I go when I step outside my place, and I will keep my mouth shut because it's none of my business unless they ask me for my help. And it's the same thing with families. Do you ever notice how you try to tell people what to do and you're not even doing it yourself? Well, guess what? I'm just going to do it myself, and people already know. I give people my phone number. Call me. They don't call me because you're not ready to embrace loving and caring for yourself, and I get it. I get it. So there's a couple questions here. We talked about that already. In 2008, I had a meniscus tear in the right knee while I was under. He told me that when he got in there, the meniscus, one second, I'm trying to get it to open up. It won't open up, but I will tell you that no matter how bad the meniscus tear is, we can actually show you how to heal. And the reality is with using DMSO gel, with using Pain Away and essential oil muscle restore, by using calcium ion therapy, okay, by using Ormus minerals, by using a clapper, by using the bottom of a bottle and going in there, we will show you how to do it all. You know, with the tear, you got to wait until the inflammation comes down and then we can work on it. But we can show you how to, instead of having the inflammation, increase the circulation so it heals properly. And I apologize, Kathleen. If you want to do it again, you can do it. Oh, here, it just opened. Okay, it opened. I was when I was under. He told me when he got in there, the meniscus is torn in half. And there was nothing else to do but remove it. He doesn't know Dr. Wolf. And the reality is this: you can always get surgery. Everything I do causes no harm. I cause no harm to the human body. I cause absolutely no harm. I have no toxic products, only healing. I have the most powerful nutraceuticals in the world. Don't believe me? Start using them, or go and talk to people who buy my products for the last, 20, 30 years, 40 years. So the reality is we have to let the inflammation, if you had a torn meniscus, we got to let the inflammation come down somewhat. And then we're going to go in there and use non-surgical and clapping and cellsonic if the person has a cellsonic in their clinic. We have a cellsonic in Mexico. We have a cellsonic in Kelowna, where I have a clinic up there. And then I have about 15 other therapists. And even in Australia, I've got 2 therapists with cellsonic, one in Melbourne and one up by Coffs Harbour in Australia as well. And they have also a cardio med bed. So we've got brilliant practitioners all around the world. And like I said, I'll be starting my tour in January the 8th in Mexico with a full-blown course of whole life coach, Wolf non-surgical, pelvic restoration for women, and the Braveheart Health and Healing Circle. And then we will be going all over. You can check, I'll be in Sacramento, California. I'll be in Barrie, Ontario. I'll be in Kelowna, British Columbia. We will be heading to Texas. It's not on there yet though, but we're going. As soon as we open up our new fulfillment, we'll be doing it out of our fulfillment there. But I'll also be in Bonita, Florida. And where else? I'll be in just 45 minutes outside of England in this beautiful resort. And the prices are unbelievable. The place is just so gorgeous. It's called Flesham or something like that. And so I'll be there as well. And so you can check that out at braveheartnation.com or bhnuniversity.com. So no, you didn't need to have surgery. And I'm going to tell you, we have not had anybody go to surgery with a spinal problem, knee problem, hip problem, carpal tunnel syndrome, shoulder problem in years. And you can call BS on me, but it really doesn't matter. I don't need to lie. Okay? All right? And most people think I'm lying because just because you haven't heard it before doesn't make it not true. So is inflammation a blockage or an infection? Infection causes inflammation. And the other thing that causes inflammation is trauma, like the tear with the meniscus. And the other thing that causes inflammation is actually anxiety. So understand, fear, anxiety, they cause inflammation, and that's caused from the brain. So you can create inflammation throughout your body without having an accident or any kind of trauma, okay? And blockage will create, if you know something, well, okay, so take a look at it this way, Jessica. If a beaver dam was built on a river, is the circulation better or worse? And could a beaver dam actually cause, instead of cause a swamp? Yes. A beaver dam could slow the circulation down, that you create a swamp, stagnation. So when you have stagnation, that's the infection. The infection will create the inflammation, and the inflammation will create then the scar tissue formation, and then it will also create the pulling of the calcium from the bones. There it is. And if you don't believe me, or you think it doesn't sound right, go watch Reverse the Irreversible. This is a masterclass. I used to sell this for just under $1,000, and it's free in my library to everyone because forget the selling to people. People need this information. People have suffered long enough. And so I would tell you to go watch that. And then go and watch The Emotional Chemistry of Cancer, Disease, and Healing in my library as well. And if you want to understand the emotional part on how we create the inflammation and the whole domino effect of disease, go take the course that I did charge over $1,000 for. It's a 33-day course. It's free in my library. And it's called the Braveheart Emotional Intelligence Masterclass. Okay? And then from there, if you don't believe me about pooping in the pelvis, go watch How to Become Number 1 at the Art of Number 2. And go watch The Holy Grail, Your Large Intestine. And if you want to know how your digestive tract works for the first time, better than any course you ever took in school, and I mean university, go watch The Highway of Health, Your Digestive Tract. Okay? Let's get back to our story, will we? Will we get back to our story?
Compress the nerves.
It compresses the nerves.
Blood supply again by having normal space. And in addition to that, because the reason why the nerves in your case are getting squeezed like this is because of something called a spondylolisthesis, where the arthritis has caused the bone to slip. We have to put in
Spondylolisthesis. I mean, who could even say it? Why doesn't he just say it's scar tissue and calcification? That's all it is. That is the name. That is what's going on. It's like arthritis is inflammation of the joint, colitis, inflammation of the colon, sinusitis. How about fibromyalgia? Pain in many muscle fibers. How about polymyalgia, which means pain in many muscles? How about chronic fatigue, which is just a congested liver created by a backup of your bowel? How about systemic candidiasis, which is a fungal problem created by antibiotics and also constipation? Not meaning you don't go to the bathroom, but stagnation. And then the fungus, when you take antibiotics, it changes the yeast into fungus in your large intestine, and they drill holes through you because antibiotics vibrate below zero. That wakes up the fungus-making drill bit stuff in your large intestine that's not supposed to happen until you're dying or dead. So now that's what antibiotics do. So you better make sure, if you want to take antibiotics, you better be in a life-threatening situation or it'll put you in one. And here's the deal. If you drink milk, you do yogurt, you're not getting good bacteria in yogurt. You're getting dead bacteria and cow's bacteria. Who cares about that? And the reality, Greek yogurt my butt, will you? It's no better than anything else. It's pasteurized, acidic. It's going to pull calcium from your bones. It's the biggest lie in the world. You couldn't give me a yogurt factory. I wouldn't take it. I have a little bit more integrity than that. And the reality is all dairy products, okay, create problems, even if you don't feel the inflammation. We were never meant to eat cow's milk. Is there good things in it? Yeah, there's good things in it, but the offset is not what you want. And the reality is when you stop doing the dairy products, see how you feel. Okay, now, here's the problem. If you're an animal eater or a fish eater, and it's farmed fat salmon or any other fish, it's full of antibiotics and pus and worms. If you're not eating organic free-range meats, then guess what? They're loaded with antibiotics now. And guess what? They took antibiotics as a prevention. Well, what do you think? You think when you're eating the meats, you're not getting antibiotic, the vibration of it going into your body? Okay, here we go. We're back to the story.
Screws to bring the bones back into place.
Okay, so now they're going to use screws to bring the bones back into place. Okay? Can't wait for that. Now, a screw is what? A foreign object. We already told you that when you have a sliver in your finger or anywhere in your body, it creates infection and inflammation, doesn't it? Yes or no? So what do you think a screw is going to do? Create lots of inflammation and create lots of scar tissue formation and then lots of calcification, calcium coming out of the bones. Okay.
And we have to put a little spacer that sits in between there to allow the bones to fuse together.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the screws in, then we're going to put a spacer in to allow your bones to fuse together. So now your L3 and L4 and L5 aren't going to move. So now you're going to not have that flexibility anymore. So now you've created a block in your spine, which now you've just cut off by 20 to 30% your spinal fluid. That's right. So messaging to the brain and then the brain back to the body to deliver the chemicals and hormones.
That's the solution.
That's the solution.
Will this go away?
The numbness? No,
The numbness?
Permanent.
No.
So even after I understood that.
Okay. So she goes, well, will it go away? And he goes, do you mean the numbness? She goes, yes. And he goes, that is permanent. You see how he talks? Permanent. Watch how he makes certain words really stand out. Okay? I probably do it too with my philosophy, right? So I'm not downing him, but he wants to really make it clear to her that after this surgery, it's going to be permanent, because it's going to be. All that calcification and scar tissue, it's going to choke the whole area off. Listen, you're not going to have any pain anymore, but the reality is it's not going to fix the drop foot. It won't fix the sciatic problem. That can come back again, okay? This is no cure. We're rolling the dice, baby, but it's the medical system, so this is what they have, the best they have to offer, so I'm not downing it. You go ahead, go to them. Everybody can go to them. Just remember that we should have choices. That's all.
Yeah.
But I was asking if I had the procedure done, will that?
Probably not.
Okay.
So if I have the surgery on the low back, you're telling me that it's going to be numb there forever, and running down my leg is going to stay numb. That's what she's asking, and he's saying probably not. He's being honest. I think that was very good of him, don't you?
The parts that'll go that have a chance to get better and that probably will get better are the parts that are not permanent, which are the pain in your back.
So where there's inflammation, that will probably get better because we're just going to wall it all off with the calcium in the scar tissue. And that'll probably get better. But it doesn't always get better. You can ask people. You know, the body will heal itself. That's the blessing.
Back, in the butt, running down the leg. The numbness that is there all the time, that's an indicator of a permanent problem. And that, once it happens in one place, it's a matter of time before it starts happening in other places. And
he's not lying. He's saying that if they do the surgery, they'll create enough calcification and scar tissue formation that it won't spread. That's not true though, because now we've got beef jerky and stiffness. So she can tear that out. And if she tears that out, it's coming back. So he did not tell the truth there. He did not tell the truth, and he wasn't lying. He's saying that if you don't have the surgery and you don't know how to get rid of the infection and the scar tissue and get the calcium back into the bones and create proper circulation there, it's going to get worse. Well, of course, anything you don't know how to fix and you keep on stressing yourself out, it's going to get worse. You keep on micro-tearing it. You keep on pulling more calcium out because the longer the inflammation, the more calcium you pull out of the bones. And that's called osteopenia, then osteoporosis. And then we get what? We get arthritis, and then we get osteoarthritis, and then we get osteorheumatoid arthritis. And they're all the same thing. Dysfunctional treatments and not knowing how to love, care, and respect your body. And it's not because you're disrespectful on purpose. You can't do better until you know better, and God love you anyway. But whether you're doing something on a conscious level or a subconscious, the outcome is still the same.
you know, that's why we recommend surgery in the first place, is to prevent in the...
So in the first place, a surgeon is always going to recommend surgery. In the first place, I'm going to recommend what I do. I'm not going to tell people not to have surgery. I don't ever want to be responsible for someone. And I'm going to say, listen, if you decide you want to do the surgery, just know that after the surgery, you're going to be very stiff and you're going to be numbed out. If you want us to go in there and get rid of that displaced calcium and open up that scar tissue so we can bring back as much flexibility as possible. It doesn't matter if you have rods, screws, or plates. We're not going to screw you up. We know what we're doing. We're not going to hurt anything. But everybody's so paranoid, schizophrenic, because the problem is we've all been taught not to touch ourselves, not to take control of ourselves, not to look after ourselves. Let the professionals do it.
Worst case scenario, let's say you had surgery done and nothing got better. In the worst case scenario, it stops the problem from getting worse.
Okay, so he has to say that because that happens a lot. That after the surgery, nothing got better, but I promise you nothing will get worse. And guess what? That's not true. That's not true. So she might have a year, maybe 2 years. But guess what? If she goes to try to reach for something, forgetting that she's now beef jerky, she'll tear it out.
Obviously, the high majority of people are going to notice significant improvement in a lot of their symptoms.
In my situation, there would be significant improvement.
I would expect that to be the case. Can't
He expects it, but I can't promise it.
Surgery,
And that's nice of him because he's telling the truth.
you go in with the incision, or you have to break me open.
It's a minimally invasive procedure. We make a few little openings about the size of my thumbnail.
Okay. Well, we'll do that later, the music part, right? I hit the wrong thing. I might have lost it now. But let's put it this way. So the size of his thumb, he's going to do 6 to 8 holes, okay? To put the screws in, to put the spacers in. That is a lot of inflammation, a lot of scar tissue formation. So she's going to be totally solid. Now understand something. Do you know why she went to do this video? I told her, I said, listen, go to your doctor, hear what he's got to say. And I told her exactly what he was going to say. And I didn't say go audio it and give it to me. We're not trying to set people up here. It's not about us against the medical system. I would use the medical system maybe 1% of my life. That would be a sports injury or an accident, never anything else. Because I will never ever be sick. I'll never have anything rotting out. I'll never have anything growing in me that's some kind of monster, because I love and care for myself. So the reality is that the medical system has taken over healthcare, and they have nothing to do with healthcare. They are medical care. And actually, doctors that you call doctors, they're not doctors, they're physicians and surgeons. I am actually a doctor, and the type of doctor that I am, we were around thousands of years before medical doctors. Doctors have been around basically for 140 years. Okay, that's it. Most people don't understand that. I'm not putting them down. I think they have a place to play, but I will tell you that 95 to 98% of all surgeries and all medication that people take is not needed. Sometimes I get it. The pain is so severe, you've got to do it. But now you're a drug addict. You're a drug addict just like the druggies on the street. There's druggies on the street that do drugs all their life, but they do them in the way that they are a drug addict, but they don't kill themselves. And don't tell me that people don't kill themselves on drugs, because actually doctors are the third leading cause of death in United States. Okay? So I'm not putting them down either. They're doing the best they can. And the reality is people are being poisoned. And when you actually think about it, they're made out of petroleum, so we should have really researched that in the first place, don't you think? And the other thing is that when you take a drug, you didn't have the problem because of the lack of the drug. You didn't have the problem because of lack of surgery, just like you didn't get cancer because of lack of chemo and radiation. And the reality is that when you take a painkiller, okay, or an anti-inflammatory, all they're doing is shutting off the communication from your brain to your body. So even though the pain is still there, you can't feel it, the inflammation is still there, creating the beef jerky and pulling the calcium out. This is why take the drugs, have no pain, okay, have no inflammation, and guess what you're going to have? You're going to have surgery, because you are going to become a piece of beef jerky wherever the problem was, because I said the fire's still raging. The inflammation is still there, the pain is still there, and it's not being recorded by the brain. So the tissue is still under attack. And you need to get it. Okay? All right? So, I really love this song. Finally, that's what this is called. So, finally, are you going to wake up? Finally, are you going to know that you are the practitioner, the healer that you've been looking for? Okay? Finally, are you going to understand? Don't tell me about your religion. Don't tell me about your faith. And then tell me the first thing you're going to do is take a drug or go under the knife. Now, that's entirely up to you. But understand, God created this beautiful body that actually has all of these body languages coming to us in love messages, in pain, inflammation, swelling, and stiffness, saying, finally, are you ready? You can't go through my library and find any lies. If you were to go through my library and do reverse the irreversible and watch every masterclass in there, I will have taught you, and I don't care if you're a medical doctor or a naturopathic doctor, I will have taught you more truth and more 1 and 1 or 2 than any other course you can get. And that's free. If you want to get certified, okay, as a whole life coach, nutritionally, emotionally, physically, and if you want the most powerful body work in the world, come take my Wolf Non-Surgical and put me to the test. But the reality is this, you can go all the way from patient to getting your doctorate with us. And everybody out there that's a natural health practitioner, you can get what's called the Indigenous Doctorate, okay, by writing a thesis and working through Dr. Ben Aguirre from Puerto Rico. And when you get your Indigenous Doctorate, you're now outside white man's medicine, which means, and justice. They can't come after you. You're working under Indigenous law, You think about that. Okay? The reality is here is think of me whatever you want, but I am going to do every strategy that I can to prove to someone, okay, that they are the practitioner. They are the healer. They are the only cure. And the only cure is when you wake up in the morning, you are in the present moment and conscious of your choices and your decisions. And you will allow no more bullshit into your life. You will allow nothing that the majority does. The majority is not going anywhere but down. They are the low-hanging fruit. We are the minority, so I know that I will never be accepted. I get it. I will never be accepted by the majority. And the reality is I'm minding my own business. What I practice in my practice, I practice with myself. So, let me just say this. You are the hero you've been looking for. You can go from victim to hero. You can go from hero to practitioner. Okay? And all the way through and get your doctorate. And understand something. Health is easy to understand. Every one of my guides, every one of my master classes, all the way through all my courses, if an 8-year-old can't understand it, we are not going to speak it. Why do you think, why do you think there's so much religion in Greek? Why do you think that there's so much medical talk in Greek? They're all Greek words. I mean, shouldn't I have just said to the person, you've got inflammation and calcification in your joint? Shouldn't I have said that? Or should I have said you have arthritis? And then nobody ever looks it up. Like nobody looks up the definition of a virus, which is just poison. It doesn't say anything about it being alive because it's not. But does anybody look it up? No. And this is it. We can become so fearful that we become dangerous to ourselves and others. And listen to me. I am no better than anyone else. I'm no worse than anyone else. And everything that I've learned and everything that I teach, can you get that, Lori? Everything that I've learned and everything that I teach, anybody can understand it. And you know, people will call me up and go, Dr. Wolf, what is it going to take for me to start with your courses? And I go, passion and purpose. Yeah, but Dr. Wolf, I didn't finish high school. I said, that's got nothing to do with passion and purpose and your genius. Okay? Many people failed out of school. Einstein failed science. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Annette, I am confused about something. Perhaps you can clarify. Graphene is dangerous or no? Well, graphene is carbon, so that means you're dangerous, Annette. Did you get that? And understand something, Annette. Like everything else, people are not dumb. They've been dumbed down. And understand, it's what they do to the carbon. When you get this, it's what they attach into the carbon. You are carbon, Annette. The only carbon that they want to get rid of is us. The carbon tax is they're taxing us, taxing our lives. You need to understand it's all lies. And understand the graphene, it's what's in it. What's in the graphene that's in this. That's what matters. And understand something. My MCT C60, don't believe me, go into PubMed and see C60. My hemp oil C60, those two things, they pull, the graphene out and what's causing the negative side effects from the V out of the human body. You know what? There's a protocol. Our curcumin cayenne, our C60, all right? And our Ormus minerals, Our Ormus minerals, when they're combined, they'll go in, and our humic fulvic, because you do know that humic fulvic will actually pull what the negative thing is from this in the human body. Humic fulvic, curcumin cayenne, and C60, and Ormus minerals. Those four are the four pillars, and they will remove. I've got people that have done this 3 and 4 times, and they're symptomatic free, and they were at a point they thought they were going to pass on. So understand, Annette, a little bit of information makes people dangerous. So understand this. Our C60 is, and also if you want to talk about C60 and that, and I'll be back on with Richard. Let me see here. Now, Richard makes our C60. Let me just take a look here. Give me 1 second, everyone. And you can question him if you'd like, okay? Because he makes it, all right? Anyways, I'll put it up here in the notes. But everybody, if you want to know the shows I'm doing a bunch of shows on our products. And you can come on and challenge us as much as you want. I just say, bring it on. Go to DocStar TV Guide at docofdetox.com. And everybody, once you've done your research, you might want to jump on it. This is our biggest sale, and it's on for 2 weeks. This week and next week, it's our Black Friday sale. And Annette, thank you for that beautiful question. But understand something, okay? All right? People aren't dangerous. It's the belief systems you put inside of them that make them dangerous. Yes or no, Annette? Same thing. Okay, and understand this. Graphene, I want you to know this. 98% of all the graphene, okay, comes from China that goes into C60. Not ours. It comes from Russia. It comes from Russia. It's pure. There's no C60 on the planet that'll measure. When we make our C60, it's made in glass crystal bowls that'll hold 250 liters of the purest concentrate of MCT oil and hemp oil. Our hemp oils taste like nutty. And when you drink our C60, it is 270 times stronger in vitamin C, strongest antioxidant in the world. It can defuse the V inside of a person. It will restore and recondition the brain, bring back the eyesight. You will know it when you front end load it. There is nothing like it. Okay, so I can say this and I can stand up for all of it because I know it. There is no better C60 in the world. My humic fulvic, we're the only people in the world that do not use chemicals to process our humic fulvic. We have the only humic fulvic that you can put in your eyes and get rid of detached retina or help turn it around, cataracts, glaucoma, floaters, dry eyes, burning eyes, okay? And our, when you take our humic, we know that humic will shut down and capture a virus, and that people do not get sick with the flu when they're on our black diamond and black gold. We know that black gold humic fulvic will go into the large intestine and it will restore mummy's bacteria faster than any good bacteria product. Yeah, I'm well researched and I have to be, because when you come out with something that the majority don't understand and only the minority, a small part of the minority understand, you're a quack. What are you up to, you snake oil salesman, you? It's the reality is people have a hard time listening to something that's brand new because we all run programs. That's it. I got to go. In 5 minutes, I'm coming on with Terry. He is the formulator of our iodine, and our iodine's the only pure iodine in the world. Oh, again, Dr. Wolf is just shooting his mouth off. No, I'm not. And with my stage 4 breast cancer patients, we will even have them on 2 ounces of our iodine a day. You try to do that with any other iodine, you'll blow their thyroid out. Okay, our iodine will capture and neutralize a virus in 15 seconds. That is actual real study. I'll be on in a few minutes if you want to test me on the iodine. But I'll be back this week with Richard on the C60, so watch for that. And I'll be back on with our Thunder Shrooms. Okay, and I'll be on with some of the other leading products that we have because it is Black Friday. I'm trying to get the word out. And if you miss a show, go to Telegram, okay? All right? Braveheart Nation on Telegram or Doc of Detox on Telegram. And you can go scroll back and you can get everything you want. It's all there because here it's hard to catch. All right. And if you're interested in finding your authentic self, or you're a practitioner already and you really want to bring your game up, or you just want to help and heal yourself or your family, whether you're a woman, man, or just coming out of school and you want to find a profession, just know this. We will back you up. We will never let you down. We will support you from the minute you take our course until eternity. as far as we can go on this planet anyways. All right, so check us out at braveheartnation.com or bhnuniversity.com. Let me leave you my Braveheart oath, okay? I am love, I am healed, I am Braveheart. Today and every day, from the moment I rise until I gently close these eyes, okay? I will love, respect, honor, and protect myself first and foremost before anyone else or anything else, so help me God. Because I am, I can, I'm healed, I am love, I am Braveheart. 3, 2, 1. You got this. Bye now.